Chapter 128. Diapers? Yisun couldn't help but laugh out loud. Although his eldest niece was usually straight-laced, beautiful, and looked a little cold, there was actually a funny soul hidden deep within her. It could often make people laugh. Then black it is, Yisun said with a grin. You girls often say that black makes you look thin and tall. Why don't you wear black? After saying that, Yisun took his pants and walked into the room. He was afraid that Zhuo would say something brilliant again. At that time, he wouldn't even be able to wear black pants. Zhuo closed the door and went in to change. Today was the first day of the new year, so of course, she had to wear something festive. Therefore, Zhuo chose a wine-red waist-cinching coat, black leggings, and a pair of black marten boots. The burgundy contrasted with her fair skin, making it look as white as jade. She was neatly dressed. It was valiant, but it did not lack the youthful beauty that a girl of this age should have. Before leaving the house, Zhuo picked up a pearl clip from the dressing table and put it beside her ear. The burgundy pearl clip matched the burgundy coat perfectly. When they arrived at the dining room, Zhuo had already brought breakfast to the table. Yunjing's custom was to eat noodles on the first day of the Lunar New Year. Besides noodles, there were 3 tea eggs in the bowl. The tea eggs on the first day of the Lunar New Year were called golden ingots. The more one ate, the better the omen. Although Zhuo was very thin, her appetite was not small. 3 tea eggs were nothing to her. As soon as she put down her chopsticks, Zhou Yuelian and Lin Jinchui's family of 4 came over to pay New Year's greetings. Happy New Year, Shu! Little Lian, brother-in-law, why are you guys so early? We just put down our chopsticks. Come in and have a seat. As soon as she finished speaking, Shu looked into the house again. Zhuo, your Aunt Lian and sister Sha are here. Zhuo hurriedly ran out of the house and greeted them one by one before making tea for everyone. Sister Sha, do you want some fruit tea? Zhuo asked while holding the tea leaves in her hand. What flavor? Lin Sha walked over. Zhuo looked at the packaging. I think it's pineapple and hawthorn. I'd like some. Lin Sha nodded. Brother Weiwei, would you like some? Lin Weiwei smiled and said, I'd like some ordinary green tea. Sure. After staying at home for a while, Lin Sha suggested going out to play. Zhuo, let's go out to the temple fair. We saw a lot of people going to the Dragon King temple on the way here just now. Is it far? Zhuo asked. Lin Sha said, it's not very far. Let's take a 30-minute car ride first, but the Dragon King temple is on the top of the mountain. There's no ropeway, so we have to walk up. Are you going to the Dragon King temple? Yisun walked over and said, I'm going to pay a New Year visit to President Yu, so I'll take you there on the way. Okay. Zhuo nodded and turned to look at Lin Weiwei. Brother Weiwei, do you want to go with us? Lin Weiwei was a very shy big boy. When he talked to Zhuo, he couldn't help but blush. I made an appointment with my high school classmates, so I won't go with you guys. Lin Sha hugged Zhuo's arm. It's fine if he doesn't go. Zhuo, let's go. Yisun was a very sentimental person. Although the efficiency of the express delivery company was getting better and better, he still drove the used van. Although the van was second-hand, it had been modified by Zhuo, so its performance was very good. It was full of high-quality facilities. In fact, this was the main reason why Yisun had been reluctant to change cars. Soon, they arrived at the foot of the mountain where the Dragon King temple was located. The car could not go up. So many people gathered at the foot of the mountain. Yisun got out of the car and opened the door for the 2 of them. Eldest niece, Sha, when do you plan to go home? I'll come and pick you up. Yisun looked up at the Dragon King temple on the top of the mountain. I think it'll take 2 or 3 hours. I'll call you then. Okay. Yisun nodded and reminded the 2 of them to pay attention to their safety. If anything happened, they should call him. Then he left. Zhuo and Lin Sha began to walk up the mountain. The path up the mountain was very steep, and it was a little difficult to walk. The two of them walked for an hour before reaching the top. Yi Zhuo and Lin Shasha bought some incense paper and donated some incense money. They entered the temple and kowtowed several times before walking out. Today was the first day of the Lunar New Year, and there were many stalls outside the Dragon King temple. Eating, drinking, and having fun, everything was available. Zhuo, look, there's a ring toss over there. Let's go take a look, Lin Shasha said, pointing at the crowd not far away. Chapter 129. Yi Zhuo nodded. It was 50 yuan for 20 rings. You could take whatever you managed to encircle. Because of the distance, many people spent hundreds of yuan but couldn't get anything. Lin Shasha went to buy 20 rings and gave 10 to Yi Zhuo. Yi Zhuo raised her eyebrows slightly. So many rings. If I get all of them later, with so many things, how can we take them down the mountain? When the stall owner heard this, he smiled and said, "Young lady, you talk big. If you can get all of them, I will personally send you down the mountain." Boss, a gentleman's word. The stall owner immediately replied, "A promise is a promise." He had made his fortune by doing the ring toss business. After 20 years in business, the most capable person he had ever met only managed to get half of the 20 rings. The boss would never believe that a young girl who looked no more than 18 years old could get all the rings. Yi Zhuo smiled. "I'm relieved to hear that. Then I'll have to trouble you to bring me 40 more rings." Since the boss had offered to send her down the mountain, she didn't have to worry about not being able to carry everything anymore. Okay. The boss immediately brought 40 rings. Lin Shasha was stunned. Zhuo, are you really that good? Of course. Yi Zhuo wasn't modest. Lin Shasha continued, "I'll try to trap one first." As she spoke, Lin Shasha threw out a ring. Unfortunately, she didn't manage to trap anything. The stall owner smiled and went to pick up the ring. Lin Shasha threw out another one. It still didn't work. This continued until the third and fourth rings also failed. Lin Shasha sighed. It didn't look too far away, so why was it so difficult to succeed? The stall owner looked up at Yi Zhuo. "This little girl, aren't you going to try?" Yi Zhuo looked up slightly. "Watch carefully, don't blink." After saying that, Yi Zhuo casually threw a ring out. Paw! A Pikachu doll landed in the middle of the red circle. Holy shit! Lin Shasha jumped up excitedly. Awesome! The stall owner was also stunned. Hit it once? It must be a coincidence. The stall owner walked over to pick up the Pikachu. Yi Zhuo said, "Boss, wait a moment. It's too troublesome to pick up one Pikachu after another. When I'm done with all the rings, you can pick them up together." The stall owner was delighted. Sure. He wanted to see if this little girl was really that amazing. Yi Zhuo tilted her head and looked at Lin Shasha. "Sister Shasha, which ones do you like?" Lin Shasha said in surprise, "You can get all the ones I like." Yi Zhuo nodded. Lin Shasha pointed at the panda doll on the ground and said, "I like that one." "What else?" "Ah." Lin Shasha was stunned. Yi Zhuo continued, "It's too troublesome to trap them one by one. I want to trap 10 of them at once." Lin Shasha swallowed her saliva. The stall owner couldn't help but laugh out loud. This little girl was very interesting. He had been in business for so many years, but he had never seen such a confident person. He had also never seen someone who wanted to trap 10 of them at once. The young girls nowadays were really good at bragging. Lin Shasha pointed at a few toys. Yi Zhuo decided not to count the rings in her hands. She grabbed a handful and threw them out. It was like a fairy scattering flowers. When the rings fell to the ground, Lin Shasha was scared silly. Fuck! Fuck! She really hit all of them. She looked up at Yi Zhuo. Yi Zhuo was extremely calm, as if the person who threw the rings was not her. The stall owner and the passers-by were also stunned. No one had expected that Yi Zhuo would be so powerful. Yi Zhuo then grabbed another bunch of rings and threw them out again. Without a doubt, she hit all of them again. Clap! 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 Deafening applause sounded around them. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed that a teenage girl would be so powerful. Other people were here to play the ring toss game. She was here to do wholesale. This time, the boss had suffered a huge loss. Zhuo turned to look at the stall owner. "Boss, please help us send these to the foot of the mountain. We will wait for you at the foot of the mountain." The boss felt that his entire mood had soured. However, the most important thing in doing business was to be honest. Since he had already promised Zhuo before, even if it was a loss now, he would still do it. He would learn from his mistakes. Next time, he could not belittle anyone, especially the young and pretty little girl. "Okay." The boss nodded. "I'll have my son send them down in a while." "Little girl, you know there's a pine tree at the foot of the mountain, right? I'll have my son wait for you there. By the way, this is my business card. If you have any questions, you can call this number." Chapter 130. Zhuo took the business card. "Then I'll have to trouble you." "You're welcome." In the crowd, a man in a black windbreaker stood out from the rest. He looked at Zhuo just like that. His gaze seemed to be penetrating. A moment later, he reached out and pressed down on the hat on his head. The wide brim of the hat covered his facial features. Looking at the scene in front of him, his ears could not help but recall the words of his assistant from yesterday. "All of Miss Ye's information has been encrypted. We have no access to it." Encrypted. Under normal circumstances, would an ordinary person's information be encrypted? Since he could not find out about Zhuo's information, he could only understand her through others' words. What kind of person was she? Ignorant, stupid, useless, unable to read a few big words. But now, it seemed that these labels did not match her at all. When Zhuo raised her head to look, there was no sign of him. Zhuo raised her eyebrows slightly. Could it be an illusion? After a moment, Zhuo withdrew her gaze and looked at Lin Shasha, who was beside her. "Sister Shasha, let's go." "Okay." Lin Shasha nodded slightly. The two of them walked down the mountain together. It was said that it was easier to climb up the mountain than to go down, and this saying was not wrong at all. When they went up the mountain, they climbed up in an hour. It had been half an hour since they started going down, and they had only covered 1/3 of the distance. The two of them chatted as they walked. "Zhuo, you're really good at the ring toss. Can you teach me?" Zhuo smiled slightly. "Sure, but Sister Shasha, don't you have to revise? Don't forget, you still have to take the college entrance exam next year." "Oh, right." Lin Shasha continued, "Then I'll study after I finish playing." Zhuo continued, "I have a set of revision materials at home. It should be helpful to you. I'll bring it to you when I get home." "Okay." "Thank you, Zhuo. Be careful." Just then, Zhuo suddenly reached out and grabbed a man's wrist. She was very strong. The man barely managed to stand, but his body was still a little unsteady. He took the opportunity to sit on the steps and turned to look at Zhuo. "Thank you." This time, he turned his head. Both of them were stunned. "Mr. Song." "Miss Yi." Both of them said almost at the same time. "Mr. Song has low blood sugar." Zhuo also half squatted down. Song Shiyu nodded. His face was a little too pale, but his lips were red and flirtatious, as if he had put on lipstick. Zhuo took out a few pieces of candy from her pocket and handed them to him. "I have a few pieces of candy here. Mr. Song, you'll be fine after you eat them." "Thank you." Song Shiyu took the candy. "Boss. Are you alright?" At this moment, two men in suits rushed over. Song Shiyu slowly peeled a piece of candy and put it into his mouth. "I'm fine." The sweet and cloying taste spread on the tip of his tongue. Song Shiyu suddenly looked up at Zhuo, his dark eyes filled with ink. "Miss Yi, where did you buy this candy?" "Big White Rabbit milk candy." I bought it at the supermarket, Yizhuo said curiously. Mr. Song, you haven't eaten this candy before? Big white rabbit milk candy. Song Shiyu frowned and felt a headache. Yizhuo continued, Mr. Song, since your assistant is here, I'll go down the mountain with my friend first. Song Shiyu supported his assistant's hand and stood up. His voice was still a little weak. Thank you for today, Miss Yi. You're welcome. After Yizhuo left, Song Shiyu extended his hand to his assistant. His face seemed to be covered with a layer of ice. Give me a pen and paper. Knowing his boss's personality, his assistant always brought pen and paper with him. He immediately passed the pen and paper to Song Shiyu. Song Shiyu ignored the fact that his hand was still trembling. He sat down on the ground and began to draw. Beijing. Feng Qianhua and Feng Xianxian had spent the night in the hotel. This morning, they took the 100-flower nectar given by old Madame Feng to the Lin family to wish old Madame Lin a happy new year. When she saw Feng Qianhua and her daughter, old Madame Lin was instantly all smiles. Feng Qianhua handed the 100-flower nectar to the maid. Aunt Lin, this is the 100-flower nectar that my mother asked me to bring for you. I heard that it's especially good for old people. When you drink water, remember to put some in. Old Madame Lin chuckled and said, your mother is too polite. She didn't even keep such a good thing for herself and still brought it for me. Feng Xianxian smiled and continued, Grandma Lin, you're being too polite. My grandmother said that we're all family. What do you mean by, yours and mine? There's no need to be so clear about it. These words had finally reached old Lady Lin's heart. To her, Feng Qianhua and Feng Xianxian had long been family. Chapter 131. Old Lady Lin happily grabbed Feng Xianxian's hand. Right. Xianxian is right. We're family. We don't speak with outsiders. Since we're family, you're not allowed to call me Grandma Lin anymore. That's too distant. Ah. Feng Xianxian pretended to be puzzled and said, then what should I call you? Old Lady Lin lovingly scratched Feng Xianxian's nose, you child, you're so smart when it comes to exams and always come first. How can you be so stupid now? If you don't call me Grandma Lin, of course you call me Grandma. Grandma. Feng Xianxian immediately called out sweetly. Old Lady Lin was overjoyed. She took out a thick red packet from her pocket, this is the New Year money that Grandma gave you. Thank you, Grandma. Feng Xianxian took it with both hands and said awkwardly, but, will Brother Aze be unhappy if I call you that? I feel like Brother Aze doesn't like me very much. Old Mrs. Lin's face stiffened. She immediately thought of what happened last night. How dare he be unhappy? Grandma, don't be angry. Feng Xianxian hugged old Mrs. Lin's arm, I was just saying. Actually, Brother Aze is very obedient. My mother often praises Brother Aze for being sensible and even wants me to learn more from him. Who was Feng Xianxian? She was Feng Qianhua's daughter. She knew how to be good to old Lady Lin, and she also knew how to drive a wedge between them. What was Lin Ze? A bastard who didn't even know who his biological mother was. What right did he have to compete with her? Sooner or later, she would ask old Lady Lin to chase that bastard Lin Ze away. Then, she would ask Feng Qianhua to give birth to a younger brother for her. At that time, she would be the Tsin family head's daughter-in-law, and her younger brother would be the successor of the Lin family. At that time, in the entire capital, who could compare to her? Thinking of this, Feng Xianxian's eyes were filled with pride. Hearing this, the expression on old Madame Lin's face became even uglier. If Aze is half as sensible as you, I would be burning incense. If Lin Ze was really sensible, he would not have refused to let Feng Qianhua and her daughter come to the Lin family for the New Year last night. To think that Feng Qianhua still liked him so much. If Lin Ze didn't look like Lin Jincheng, she would even suspect that Lin Ze was not the blood of the Lin family. Grandma, don't tease me. How can I compare to Brother Aze? Feng Xianxian then took out a pair of insoles. Oh right, Grandma, today is the first day of the new year, and I don't have anything to give you. These are the insoles that I personally stitched for you, please don't mind them. This pair of insoles was not bought by Feng Xianxian. Instead, it was 3 pairs for 10 yuan, casually bought by the roadside. The reason she dared to say she personally stitched them was because she was relying on the fact that old lady Lin would not suspect her. This old lady was blind. She was very gullible. The facts proved that Feng Xianxian was right. Old lady Lin happily took the insoles. 1,000 miles to give goose feathers, a gift is light but the sentiment is heavy. Xianxian has grown up and knows how to be filial to grandma. What was important was not a pair of insoles, but the fact that Feng Xianxian had personally made them. This kind of kindness could not be repaid with 1,000 gold coins. It was already the age of machines now. Which young person would be willing to personally sew a pair of insoles for the elderly at home? This granddaughter. She did not dote on her for nothing. The more old Madame Lin thought about it, the happier she became. Feng Xianxian smiled and said, "Grandma, I'm your granddaughter. Isn't being filial to you something that should be done? When I earn money in the future, I'll take you around the world to travel. To experience different customs and traditions." Sure enough, girls were considerate. Lin Zhe, for example, had never said such intimate words to her. Did the Lin family lack money to travel around the world? What they lacked was a good child who was filial. Okay. Old Mrs. Lin patted Feng Xianxian's hand. "Grandma will wait for you to take Grandma around the world." Feng Xianxian continued, "Oh right, Grandma Lin, where are Brother Ah Zhe and Uncle Lin?" "They went out to pay New Year's visits early in the morning." "They haven't come back yet," said old Mrs. Lin. Feng Qianhua continued, "Aunt Lin, why haven't we seen eldest brother, second brother, third brother, and fourth brother come back with sister-in-law and the children?" Lin Jincheng was the youngest child in the family. He had 4 older brothers. Old Mrs. Lin said, "They just called to say that it snowed last night and it's not easy to walk on the road. They will probably arrive in the afternoon." Having not seen her children and grandchildren for a year, Mrs. Lin could not wait to see them. Chapter 132. It's a pity that the heavens don't appreciate beauty. It's alright, Grandma. Those uncles didn't have time to come back to accompany you. It's the same for me to accompany you. Feng Xianxian hugged old lady Lin's arm and began to act coquettishly. Alright. Old lady Lin patted Feng Xianxian's hand with a face full of smiles. However, a look of disgust flashed across Feng Xianxian's eyes. That was because she was especially sensitive to the old person's smell. But now, Feng Qianhua had not married into the Lin family and her position was not stable, so she could only endure it. One day, she would be rewarded for tolerating it. At this moment, old lady Lin seemed to have suddenly remembered something. "Oh right, Qianhua, a few days ago, Director Wang from the south sent some tonics over. Bring some back to your mother later. Tell her that it's my return gift for the 100-flower nectar." It was good to have a return gift. Old lady Lin's return gift was equivalent to an imperial edict in the Feng family. In fact, this was not just a return gift. It also represented old lady Lin's affection and recognition for her. Although she was very happy, Feng Qianhua still said, "Aunt Lin, we're all family. You don't have to be so polite." Old lady Lin smiled and said, "I'm giving it to your mother, not to you. You're not allowed to reject it." Since she had already said that, Feng Qianhua naturally would not reject it. There was a smug look in her eyes. In the afternoon, old lady Lin's 4 sons came back with their wives and children. The huge Lin family suddenly became lively. Feng Qianhua was like the mistress of the Lin family, busying herself. In fact, old lady Lin's 4 daughters-in-law did treat Feng Qianhua as one of their own. After all, in all these years, besides Feng Qianhua, no other woman had appeared beside Lin Jincheng. Cloud Capital. In the afternoon, Mu Yorong punctually went to the restaurant to meet Lin Xian. Only after she went to the restaurant did she realize that Lin Shui was there as well. Yorong. The 2 sisters greeted her warmly. Although Lin Xian was a great lawyer and was usually as proud as a Kalen flower, She still had to lower her head when she saw Mu Yorong, the genuine eldest daughter of a prestigious family. Eldest cousin sister, second cousin sister. Mu Yorong walked over with a smile. Sister Yorong, quickly sit down. Mu Yorong leaned over and sat down, seemingly unintentionally saying, today is the first day of the new year. Why are the two sisters free to accompany me for coffee? Could it be that Auntie Yi didn't bring Sister Yizhua to your house to pay New Year's greetings? Lin Shui smiled and answered, her tone flat, our family has already severed relations with that bitch's family. Even though Yi Shu was Lin Shui's aunt, she had never admitted that Yi Shu was related to her and had always called her by her first name. Severed ties? Mu Yorong looked at Lin Shui in surprise, how could this be? Lin Shui took a sip of her coffee and a layer of disgust appeared in her eyes, that bitch's family comes knocking on our door every day. No matter how rich our family is, we can't help but be so extravagant. My mother saw how pitiful Yi Shu was and introduced her to a big boss. She didn't expect that not only did Yi Shu not know how to be grateful, she even indulged the trash Yizhua and injured the big boss. A bunch of ungrateful bastards. Mu Yorong nodded, I see, then they really don't know what's good for them. I saw Auntie Yi open several restaurants and thought that your family invested in her. From the looks of it, that shouldn't be the case. Restaurant? Lin Shui frowned, you mean Yi Shu? Yes, Mu Yorong continued, the restaurant is on Baqing Road. Before the holidays, business was especially good, and there was a queue almost every day. Also, Auntie Yi and the others moved out from the basement. I also heard that Auntie Yi has already spent 20 million to buy that restaurant. Lin Shui's eyes weren't the only ones wide open. Even Lin Xian felt incredible. What's 20 million? The total value of their family's assets is only 30 million. But Yi Shu took out 20 million without batting an eyelid. You know, before, Yi Shu just lived in a dark basement. It was simply unbelievable. Yorong, could you have made a mistake? Lin Xian stirred the coffee. Even she did not have the ability to earn 20 million. How did Yi Shu earn it? Could it be that she was a kept woman? It must be so. Although she hated Yi Shu, she could not deny that Yi Shu was indeed quite beautiful. That bitch was also disgusting. That day, Yi Shu introduced Li Hongwei to her and hypocritically said that she did not play third fiddle for others. Chapter 133. How many days has it been? Mu Yorong continued, not only has Auntie Yi become rich, Sister Yizhua isn't simple either. She's trash, what can she do? Lin Shui said speechlessly. Mu Yorong continued, Sister Yizhua is now a live-streaming big shot, she can earn quite a lot of money every day. Lin Shui snorted, is she the kind of streamer who flirts in front of a bunch of stinky men? It's not important what kind of streamer she is. Mu Yorong picked up the cup and sniffed it. What's important is that she can earn money. Shameless. Lin Shui said in disgust, she really is the same kind of daughter as her mother. Yi Shu was shameless. She was someone else's mistress and gave birth to an illegitimate daughter. Now, Yi Zhuo was also shameless. She was going to sell herself on the internet. Disgusting. Mu Yorong sized up the expressions of the two sisters and said, Sister Yi Zhuo's live streams can earn 3 million. At the highest, she earned 10 million in one night. Pa! The silver spoon in Lin Shui's hand fell to the ground. 10 million in one night. Lin Xian was also shocked. She helped others win a lawsuit and could only get 100,000 yuan in legal fees. 100,000 yuan in legal fees was a sky-high price for her. 10 million yuan. She was a lawyer. Yi Zhuo was just an illegitimate daughter who didn't know anything. How could she get 10 million yuan without doing anything? With her face? God was really unfair. Lin Xian was filled with jealousy. After returning home, the two sisters told Yi Shuang about this matter. Yi Shuang immediately told Yi Dafu and Yao Zuifan about it. Hearing this, Yao Zuifan was so angry that she stomped her feet, bitch. When you have money, you forget your mother and father. Her father and I are still alive. Yet, she didn't even bring 1 or 2 pieces of meat with her during the new year. She made us old couple eat scraps at home while she enjoyed herself outside. If I had known this would happen, I would have strangled this unfilial daughter to death. Yi Dafu was furious as well. He took a puff of his cigarette and said, "Xiao Shuang, is what you said true?" Yi Shuang nodded and took out her phone. "Look, these 3 stores are all Xiao Shu's now. Dad, let me tell you, these aren't rented, but bought by Xiao Shu. They're worth 20 million. 20 million yuan. Yi Dafu stared at Yi Shuang tightly, his pupils gradually dilating. The most money he had ever seen in his life was 200,000 yuan. 20 million yuan. Oh my god. I'm rich. Their old Yi family is going to be rich. Is what you said true?" Yi Dafu looked at Yi Shuang. Yi Shuang smiled and said, "Of course it's true. Would I lie to you? I say, Xiao Shu is too much. No matter what, we are still her family. But she has forgotten about us poor relatives after she became rich. Forget about me, but she can't forget who? She can't forget about you and Dad. After all, you are Xiao Shu's biological parents. There are no parents in the world who aren't owed by their children." No matter what had happened before, it couldn't change the fact that Yi Dafu and Yao Zuifan were Yi Shu's biological parents. As long as they were related by blood, Yi Shu had to fulfill her duty of providing for them. Yao Zuifan was so angry that she started cursing. She kept calling her a little slut, a little bitch. She did not even repeat herself. Yi Shuang comforted her, "Mom, why are you so angry with your own daughter? No matter what, you and Dad are her parents. Xiao Shu is not married now. She was born into the Yi family, and she is a ghost of the Yi family if she dies. All of her things are still yours. Shu is a woman after all, and her education level isn't high. She still has a burden by her side. How would she have the time to manage the restaurant? Such a good business, what if it fails at her hands?" Speaking up to this point, Yi Shuang paused and continued, "In my opinion, we should let Xiao Shuai take over the restaurant. Xiao Shuai and his sister-in-law are scholars after all. This scholar is definitely better at doing business than a blind person." Yi Shuai was the most promising person in the entire Yi family. He was also the successor of the Yi family. It was most suitable for Yi Shuai and his wife to take over the Yi family's private restaurant. Yi Shu didn't know anything. She hadn't even graduated from primary school and was illiterate. What kind of business would she do? She probably had good luck to be able to do so well in business. But would luck continue to be good? After all, this was their old Yi family's property. Hearing this, Yao Zuifan's eyes lit up and she quickly nodded. "Right. Shuang, you're right. We should let Shuai take over the restaurant. When Shuai manages the restaurant, your sister-in-law is an accountant, so she can manage the accounts." Chapter 134. As for Yi Shu, she should just go back to where she came from. Yi Shuang continued, "Oh right, Mom, there's still the money. Little Shu has at least 50 million in her hands right now. She's a woman, what does she need so much money for? When the time comes, it won't be worth it if she's cheated. You just have to leave her 1,800 yuan. The rest must be handed over to you for safekeeping." Yi Shu was simply too easy to deceive. Otherwise, when she was young, she would not have been deceived so miserably. These tens of millions were all in Yi Shu's hands. Yi Shuang was really worried. Yao Zuifan nodded repeatedly. "Xiao Shuang, you're absolutely right. Yi Shu was her daughter. If she had not given birth to Yi Shu, how would Yi Shu have gotten to where she was today? Therefore, Yi Shu's things were hers. Everything was hers. 50 million was hers. The restaurant was hers too. She had to keep all of it for Yi Shuai." Yi Dafu frowned. He felt that this matter wasn't that simple. After all, Yi Shu had already severed ties with them that day. What if Xiao Shu doesn't give it to us? Doesn't give it to us? How dare she not give it to us? I'm her mother. Yao Zuifan said angrily. If she doesn't give it to us, I'll beat the bitch to death. Yi Shuang smiled and said, Father and mother, don't worry. Xiao Shu will definitely give it. No matter what, you're both her biological parents. Xiao Shui is her brother. She's a woman. If she doesn't give these things to her parents and brother, who should she give them to? Should she give them to outsiders? As long as Yi Shu had a brain, she should know that she shouldn't give them to outsiders. Yi Shui was the most promising man in the Yi family. Yi Shu did not have a son, so she should give everything to Yi Shui. Yao Zuifan nodded. Xiao Shuang is right. Let's go, old man. Let's go to that unfilial daughter's house now and get our things back. That was tens of millions. If they were late, Yao Zuifan was worried that Yi Shu would waste the money. Yi Dafu stood up as well. Yi Shuang smiled and said, Dad, Mom, don't be anxious. Wait for Xiao Shui and his sister-in-law to come back from work. We'll go together tomorrow. Otherwise, you won't know if Xiao Shu fooled you. Only then did Yao Zuifan give up on the idea of going to look for Yi Shu now. At night, when Yi Shui and his wife heard about this, they were also extremely excited. 50 million plus 3 storefronts. Oh my god! They had never seen so much money in their entire lives. Honey, from tomorrow onwards, we won't have to go to work. From now on, we'll be the boss and the lady boss. Yi Shui hugged Lin Xiaowei excitedly. Lin Xiaowei was also very excited. Look at your little sister. She's usually quiet, but I didn't expect her to be so amazing. In just a few months, she even opened a restaurant. She doesn't have the ability. Yi Shui's expression was a little disdainful. Didn't you hear what Big Sister said? Yi Shu is being kept by a rich benefactor. These things are all given by the benefactor. Lin Xiaowei did not continue this topic and continued, I've already thought about it. After we get the 50 million tomorrow, we'll go to Big Sister's neighborhood and buy a villa too. For the remaining money, we'll hire 4 nannies. Lin Xiaowei used to be very envious of Yi Shuang. She was envious that she was a rich lady. Not only did she not have to do anything, but she also had several nannies at home. Now, it was finally her turn to be proud. She finally did not have to be envious of Yi Shuang anymore. Yi Shui nodded in agreement. Wife, don't forget, there's still the restaurant. My mother said that you'll be in charge of the finances, and I'll be the boss. We'll pair up and work without tiring. She would be in charge of the finances. Lin Xiaowei was naturally willing to do so. That night, the Yi couple, Yi Shui, and Lin Xiaowei did not sleep well. They got up at 5:30 in the morning in excitement. It was winter morning, and the sun had yet to rise at 5:30 in the morning. The family sat in the living room, thinking about the future business of the restaurant, and then it was about how to spend the 50 million. Lin Xiaowei said that she would hire a few nannies to serve Yao Zuifan well. Yao Zuifan was grinning from ear to ear. Her daughter-in-law was still filial. Unlike Yi Shu. Once you have money, you forget your mother. At 7 o'clock in the morning, the family trudged through the frost and arrived at Yi Shu's residential area. Yao Zuifan looked at the environment of the residential area. Compared to the basement where Yi Shu used to live in, it was 1,000 times better. After all, she had money. She even had such a good house to live in. Unfortunately, she didn't have the heart to live in such a good house. She didn't know how to take care of her parents, brother, and sister-in-law. Little bitch. Yi Shu had just finished making breakfast when she heard a knock on the door. Yi Shu walked over to open the door. When she saw the person outside, she frowned slightly. Lin Xiaowei smiled and said, Xiao Shu, your parents, your brother, and I are here to see you. Happy New Year. Yi Shu ignored her. What are you guys doing here? What? I can't even come to my daughter's house. Yao Zuifan grabbed Yi Shu's hand. Xiao Shu. No matter what, you're mom's biological daughter. Can't your dad and I come over to see you? As she said that, Yao Zuifan pushed Yi Shu away and entered the house by herself. Yo, your interior decoration is not bad. Good boy. Is that bird's nest? Why is such good bird's nest on the ground? Yao Zuifan quickly walked over and picked up the bird's nest. Little bitch, you're spoiling bird's nest like this, don't you know to send it to a mother like me? Yi Shu frowned slightly. These bird's nests and tonics were brought over by old Master Yang the last time he came over. She didn't know that her parents would suddenly come over, so she didn't put them away. Yi Dafu sat at the dining table and said with a sullen face, "Your brother and we haven't eaten yet. Hurry up and get some food over here. Standing there like a nail, you don't have any vision at all." At this moment, the door was pushed open from the outside. If I remember correctly, my mother cut off relations with you guys last time, right? Chapter 135. It was a very soft voice, but it was loud and powerful. Everyone looked towards the door. They saw a slender figure walking in. On a cold winter day, she was wearing a thin white hoodie, black pants, and a pair of white sports shoes, which made her legs look extremely slender. Her face was obviously not made up, but it was breathtakingly beautiful. When she saw Yi Zhao, Yi Shu's heart instantly calmed down. She said to Yi Dafu with a cold face, Zhao is right. I have long broken off relations with you. My family does not welcome you. Please leave immediately. Bitch! What did you say? Yi Dafu slammed the table and stood up, glaring at Yi Shu fiercely. Lin Xiaowei was a smart person. They came here today to ask for money from Yi Shu. Their relationship couldn't be too strained, so she tried to smooth things over with a smile. Dad, don't be angry. Xiao Shu didn't mean that. She's your biological daughter. When the bones are broken, the tendons are still connected. How could she really sever ties with you? After saying that, Lin Xiaowei looked at Yi Shu again. Shu. What happened at Big Sis's house last time was all a misunderstanding. At that time, everyone was angry, so they spoke in haste. They didn't really want to cut ties with you. You mustn't take it seriously. Didn't Mom and Dad bring your brother and me here today to apologize to you? As children, we should be filial. How could we really stay angry with our parents? That would be a sin. Shu, sister-in-law knows that you are definitely not that kind of person. Moreover, our parents, your brother and I have always been thinking about you and Zhao. Look, we know that you like to eat peanut butter. We specially bought this for you. Lin Xiaowei was indeed a smooth talker. After such a long speech, she did not even gasp for breath. Not only did she ingratiate herself with Yi Shu, but she also did not forget to remind her to be filial to her parents. A good daughter, no matter what her parents did, should not stay angry with them. That was filial piety. Yi Shu frowned tightly. She had always been a person who was not good with words. The concept of filial piety could crush a person. Lin Xiaowei's words had indeed struck her weak spot. For a moment, she did not know how to respond. Yi Zhao smiled and continued, if you really missed my mother, why didn't you come to visit her once in all the years we were living in the basement? For a full 18 years, even Grandma Lu, who lived next door, thought my mother was an orphan whose parents had both died. Now that our days are better, who are you trying to disgust by bringing a bag of expired peanut butter? Now, not only had Yi Shu opened 3 restaurants, but she had also moved out of the basement. Her life was getting more prosperous, and these people could not sit still. They didn't even consider how they had humiliated Yi Shu and Yi Zhao that day at Yi Shuang's house. Yi Zhao had lived for 2 lifetimes. What kind of person had she not seen? But this was the first time she had seen someone so shameless. Upon hearing this, an awkward expression flashed across Lin Xiaowei's face. The peanut butter they had brought had indeed expired. Initially, they had only wanted to fool Yi Shu, but they had not expected Yi Zhao's eyes to be so sharp. Even from that distance, she had seen that the peanut butter had expired. No, Zhao, you've misunderstood. Lin Xiaowei continued, this peanut butter is something that your uncle and I saved, reluctant to eat it ourselves. We wanted to bring it for your mother. Who would have thought it would expire just after we bought it? They say a gift from afar is light in weight but rich in feeling. This peanut butter is the same. It represents our affection for your mother. A jar of expired peanut butter was described by Lin Xiaowei as a priceless token of affection. Ordinary people really didn't have such eloquence. Yi Zhao curled her lips slightly. A tree without bark will die, a person without shame is invincible. We cannot accept such a precious token. The door is over there. Please leave immediately. You are not welcome in our home. Yi Shu. Is this how you teach your daughter? Yi Dafu slammed the table and stood up in anger. Yi Zhao raised her head to look at Yi Dafu. This is my home. How my mother teaches me has nothing to do with you. Who do you think you are? Little bitch. Is this how you talk to your uncle? I'll beat you to death today, you little bitch. Yao Zuifan jumped up, grabbed the feather duster from nearby, and was about to hit Yi Zhao. Little bitch. Your mother didn't teach you manners. Today, I will teach you on her behalf. If you don't apologize to your uncle right now, I will beat you to death. Chapter 136. She was Yi Zhao's grandmother. Even if she beat Yi Zhao crippled, no one could do anything to her. Even an honest official found it hard to settle family disputes. Yi Zhao grabbed the feather duster. It looked like a light grip, but Yao Zuifan could not pull it free no matter how hard she tried. Old bitch. I'm warning you, this is my home. I only have one uncle, and his name is Yi Sen. If you keep talking like this, don't blame me for being rude. Yi Zhao had always respected the elderly. Because in her previous life, her life was saved by a kind old woman. But faced with Yao Zuifan's shamelessness, she couldn't muster any respect. Confronted with Yi Zhao's gaze, Yao Zuifan felt both anger and fear. That fear was born from deep within. She couldn't control it at all. This was truly outrageous. No matter what, she was Yi Zhao's grandmother. Yi Zhao was a junior, yet she dared to shout at her like this. Did she have any respect for her grandmother in her heart? Immediately, she pulled out her special skill and threw herself on the ground, crying and screaming, "Somebody help! Come and see! My granddaughter is hitting her grandma. At my age, I'm getting beaten by a kid. I don't want to live anymore. I'm going to die. You goddamned little bitch." The old slut had no shame and gave birth to a bastard no one wants. You're killing me. Yi Dafu banged the table and joined in with Yao Zuifan's performance on the ground. Such misfortune. Such misfortune at home. How dare I raise such an unfilial daughter? She dares to hit her own parents. Jesus Christ. Why don't you just let us die? What's the point of us living in this world? Unfilial daughter. You'll be struck by lightning. Yi Shu looked at her parents in front of her. She thought of all the past events and tears welled up in her eyes. When she was young, her father showed her no affection, and her mother showed her no love. She was raised by her grandmother until she was 11. At her grandmother's house, she had a happy childhood. Later, her grandmother passed away. Only then did her parents pick her up and bring her home, and her miserable life began from that moment. The year she was taken back by her parents, she was only in 5th grade. But after they picked her up, they did not let her continue her studies. Because she had 2 older sisters and an older brother. The family couldn't afford to send too many children to school. An 11-year-old kid, less than 5 feet tall. Not only did she have to go to the small workshop every day to do odd jobs, but she was also responsible for washing and cooking. What she ate was worse than pig slop. She got up earlier than the rooster and went to bed later than the dog. Yi Dafu and Yao Zuifan were her parents. They had not fulfilled their duty as parents for a single day. Yi Shu clenched her fists. What the hell do you want? These words. Yi Shu roared out angrily. Her voice drowned out the voices of everyone in the room. The air suddenly became quiet. Even Yao Zuifan stopped her howling. She raised her head to look at Yi Shu. Yi Shu said in a choked voice, "What the hell do you want before you're willing to let me go? If she had a choice, she would rather never have been born into this family. Lin Xiaowei smiled and said, Xiao Shu, since you've already said it like this, then let's speak frankly. Since they had already fallen out, there was no need to continue pretending. Yao Zuifan quickly got up from the ground. Right, let's speak frankly. Lin Xiaowei continued, Xiao Shu, I heard that you're rich now. You've even opened restaurants and become the boss, right? No, Yi Shu denied flatly. She knew her parents' character. If they knew she had opened restaurants and that business was good, there would probably be endless trouble. Lin Xiaowei continued, don't lie to us. Big Sis has already told us everything. Xiao Shu, you are the daughter of the Yi family. No matter what, you will always be a member of the Yi family. Your things are the things of the Yi family. Your money is also the money of the Yi family. At this point, Lin Xiaowei paused and continued. You are a woman with a child. How can you have the energy to manage restaurants? So, I discussed it with your brother. We will take over your restaurants. Even though it's tiring, we are family. We'll go to the relevant office later and complete the transfer procedures. Oh right, I heard Zhuo is doing very well now. She's become a big streamer and has saved a lot of money. It's really not safe for you and your daughter to have so much money in your hands. So, you'd better hand over all the money to us for safekeeping. I heard from Big Sister that you have 50 million now, right? Yi Zhuo originally thought this family was here to freeload. Chapter 137. Who would have thought they were here for the whole pie? They opened their mouths and asked for 50 million. And they asked for it so matter-of-factly. Using the word shameless to describe them was simply an insult to the word itself. What's 50 million? We have 100 million, Yi Zhuo replied calmly. 100 million? Lin Xiaowei looked at Yi Zhuo in shock. Are you serious? Not only was Lin Xiaowei stunned, even Yi Dafu, Yao Zuifan, and Yi Shuai were shocked. 100 million? What kind of concept was that? Their family was about to become centimillionaires. Yi Zhuo nodded slightly. Of course it's true. Otherwise, where would we get the money to buy a shop? Not only will we buy a shop, we'll be ready to buy a big villa soon. It was no boast to say she had 100 million. Moreover, this 100 million did not include the restaurant's income. It was all earned from Yi Zhuo's missions on the tech website, as well as the live streams and the temperature-regulating clothes. The restaurant's income was all saved by Yi Shu, as she was the one managing it. When she heard that Yi Shu had 100 million, Lin Xiaowei was so jealous her heart burned. But when she thought about how the money would soon be hers, Lin Xiaowei felt a lot better. Then she said, isn't it nice for the two of you to live here? A villa. Hurry up and go to the bank to transfer the 100 million to our account. This much money should be placed with us for safekeeping. You're just a widow and an orphan. What if someone cheats you? They should be the ones buying the big villa. Yi Zhuo and Yi Shu weren't qualified to live in one. Lin Xiaowei had only wanted to ask Yi Shu for 50 million. She hadn't expected Yi Shu to have 100 million. What a surprise! 100 million. Not only could she buy a few big villas, she could also buy one for her own family. Let her family live a good life too. Go, go, go. Leave now. Quickly go to the bank and transfer the money to my and your uncle's accounts. Lin Xiaowei continued, oh right, Zhuo, I heard you are a streamer and your income is very high now. Why does a child need so much money? Hurry up and change your salary card to my card. From now on, I'll give you 1,000 yuan every month to spend. 1,000 yuan was not a small amount. How could a little girl like Yi Zhuo spend so much money? As for the rest of the money, Lin Xiaowei had to keep it for her own son and daughter. With this money, she could send her children to study abroad. Yi Zhuo tilted her head and looked out the window. She smiled and said, it's not even dark yet, and you're already dreaming. Let me tell you, don't even think about getting a single cent of my money. What do you mean your money? Yao Zuifan jumped out and said, "This money is all mine. Even you have the blood of our Yi family. You shameless bastard." Lin Xiaowei took the opportunity and sat down on the sofa. "Mom is right. Not only is the money ours, even you belong to the Yi family. If you don't give it to us, we won't leave. Tomorrow we'll buy a few locks and shut down those shops. I want to see who can outlast the other." Yi Shu was not married. Yi Zhao's surname was Yi. They wanted to leave the Yi family? Impossible. They were born of the Yi family and their ghosts would belong to the Yi family. Even if they took this to the police, it could only be considered a family dispute. Yi Shu took a deep breath. She knew that if she did not give them the money, this matter would not be over. No matter what, they were connected by blood. The problems brought by this kind of family were impossible for anyone to solve cleanly. "I don't have 50 million. How much do you want?" Yi Zhao frowned slightly. She understood Yi Shu's psychology. But for people like the Yi family, they couldn't compromise at all. Not a single cent could be given. Because once they started, there would be endless trouble in the future. It seemed that they had to find a way to make Yi Shu stand her ground. Yi Zhao's gaze fell on Yao Zuifan, and a plan formed in her mind. "You can't give them money. Mom! You can't give them a single cent." Yi Zhao shouted. "Little bitch! Shut up!" Yao Zuifan immediately jumped up and scolded Yi Zhao. "Old bitch! You shut up!" For so many years, it had always been Yao Zuifan scolding others. She could scold whoever she wanted, but no one had ever dared to scold her back. Yao Zuifan immediately jumped up. "Little bitch! Bastard! You uneducated bastard! Why don't you go die?" After saying that, she pushed Yi Zhao fiercely. This time, Yi Zhao did not dodge or fight back. She let herself be pushed by Yao Zuifan and hit the wall. Chapter 138. Yi Zhao controlled the impact. It was neither light nor heavy. It just so happened to cause blood to flow from her forehead. Her face was originally pale, so even the slightest injury was obvious. At this moment, it looked even more shocking. "Zhao Zhao!" Yi Shu rushed over and hugged Yi Zhao. "Mom! I'm in so much pain." Yi Zhao hugged Yi Shu, displaying the essence of acting as she began to moan. No one expected this sudden scene. "Isn't it just a little blood? It won't kill you." Yao Zuifan glared at Yi Zhao. "Little bastard! I think you did it on purpose." When Yi Zhao was holding the feather duster just now, she was so strong. Why was she so weak now? "My daughter is not a bastard. She's not a bastard." Yi Shu couldn't hold it in anymore and roared, "Get out of here. Get out right now. We won't leave without the 100 million. Yao Zuifan rolled her eyes at Yi Shu. Her daughter was a coward. She seemed very angry, but perhaps she was already planning how to transfer the money to them. Yi Shu helped Yi Zhao to the sofa to sit down, then rushed into the kitchen. When she came out, she had a kitchen knife in her hand. Yao Zuifan and Yi Dafu were both shocked. Yi Shuai and Lin Xiaowei were also shocked. "Xiao Shu! I'm telling you. Don't mess around. Killing is against the law. I'm your brother, she's your sister-in-law, and they're your parents." Yi Shu looked at these four so-called relatives. "You're not my brother. I don't have a brother. And them, they're even less worthy to be my parents. They say to return parental favor, you can sever a finger. Today, I'll return this to you. From now on, we're done." With that, Yi Shu raised the knife and slashed down. A part of her index finger was severed just like that. The air was frighteningly quiet. At this moment, even Yi Zhao was startled. She hadn't expected Yi Shu to do this to herself. "Mom!" Yi Zhao rushed over. "Mom is fine." Yi Shu's face was deathly pale as she looked at Yao Zuifan, Yi Dafu, Yi Shuai, and Lin Xiaowei. "From now on, besides my surname being Yi, I have nothing to do with you people. In the future, if you come to disturb our lives again, I'll kill you. I'll kill 2 of you. I'll wipe out your whole family. At worst, we'll die together. I don't want to live anymore anyway." After saying that, Yishu fiercely chopped the kitchen knife into the wooden dining table. The blade was stained with blood. The severed finger lay to the side. It was horrifying. Yao Zuifan, Yi Dafu, and the others were so scared they trembled. They had just wanted to get some money. They hadn't expected things to turn out like this. Even more unexpectedly, when Yishu became ruthless, she even severed her own finger. She was so ruthless to herself, what else wouldn't she dare to do? No one doubted her words were false. Compared to their lives. What was money? At that moment, the few of them looked at each other and ran away in terror, afraid Yishu would chop them to death with the kitchen knife the next second. Seeing they had run away, Yishu let out a sigh of relief. After dialing 120, Yi Zhao found the first aid kit and gave Yishu emergency treatment. Her vision was blurry. Yi Zhao took a cotton swab and wiped her tears with her arm. "Mom, are you okay? Does it hurt?" It was the first time in her life. She truly experienced a mother's love. It was also the first time she understood what it meant for a weak woman to be a strong mother. It had been a long time since Yi Zhao returned, but this was the first time Yishu saw her cry. She smiled and comforted her. "It's okay, it doesn't hurt at all." Zhao, don't cry, Mom really doesn't hurt." "Oh right, Zhao, is your head okay? Does it still hurt?" It doesn't hurt at all." "Mom, I'm sorry. I could have avoided it just now, it's all my fault." Yi Zhao began to regret what she had done. If she hadn't played along, Yishu wouldn't have severed her finger. She had underestimated the power of maternal love. Silly child. How can this be your fault? For people like your grandparents, you have to do this to end it once and for all. Otherwise, we will never have peace. Silly child, don't cry. Mom really doesn't hurt at all. Isn't it just a finger? For her daughter, she was willing to go to any lengths. Originally, Yishu had thought to spend some money to settle things. However, the moment she saw Yi Zhao injured, she knew. If she did not go to extremes, the mother and daughter would never have peace. Chapter 139. Mom! Yi Zhao hugged Yishu tightly. Being hugged by her daughter, Yishu couldn't help but cry. Not long after, an ambulance arrived. When they reached the hospital, Yishu was taken to the emergency room. Because the severed finger had been handled very well, the doctor said it could be reattached. Hearing this, Yi Zhao breathed a sigh of relief. She told the doctor that as long as the finger could be saved, cost was no object. When Yisun arrived, Yishu was still in the emergency room. Zhao, what's going on? How did your mother's finger get severed? Yi Zhao's eyes were still slightly red as she recounted what had happened. Hearing this, Yisun's entire body trembled. The veins on his face bulged. It was as if he had become a completely different person. It was extremely intense. He turned around and walked toward the door. Damn it! I'm going to kill them now. It was said that elder sisters were like mothers. This phrase fit Yisun and Yishu perfectly. Although Yishu was not the eldest sister, she had been more responsible than Yishuang, the actual eldest. If it weren't for Yishu, Yisun might have died when he was very young. Therefore, Yisun had always respected Yishu deeply. Uncle! Don't be rash. Calm down. Yi Zhao pulled Yisun back. My mother has already lost a finger. She definitely doesn't want anything to happen to you. Killing someone means paying with your life. For the sake of such people, sacrificing yourself isn't worth it. Let go of me. Uncle. Yi Zhao continued, don't worry, I won't let my mother lose a finger for nothing. She would make them pay back 100 times over. Zhao. Yisun looked at Yi Zhao. Yi Zhao nodded firmly. At this moment, the lights in the emergency room went off. The door was pushed open from the inside. Yi Zhao and Yisun quickly went up to the doctor. "Doctor, how is my mother, my sister?" The doctor took off his mask and smiled. "Don't worry, the surgery went smoothly. The severed finger has been reattached, but you must pay attention to rest and recovery during this period. Stay in the hospital for observation for 3 days." "Okay, thank you, doctor." Then, Yi Shu was wheeled out. "Mom! Sis!" Yi Shu's condition was not bad, but her face was very pale. 10 fingers are connected to the heart. Saying it didn't hurt was a lie. She just didn't want Yi Zhao to worry. "Don't worry, I'm fine." Yi Shu's lips curled into a pale smile. "Yi-sen, you're not allowed to do anything stupid. After what happened today, they won't dare to come and make trouble again. I want all of you to be safe. To live peaceful lives." They were siblings. Yi Shu knew Yi-sen too well. She knew he would definitely not let it go. "Sister. If you still treat me as your sister, then listen to me. Otherwise, don't call me sister anymore," Yi Shu said very seriously, with no hint of a joke in her eyes. She had severed a finger so her family could live in peace. If Yi-sen did something reckless, then wouldn't she have lost her finger for nothing? After a long moment, Yi-sen nodded. "I understand, sister. And you?" Yi Shu turned to look at Yi Zhao. Zhao, I know you're not an ordinary child, but this matter is over. Let it go. Don't do anything foolish." Yi Zhao's eyes were serious. "Don't worry, Mom. I won't do anything reckless for that disgusting bunch. They're not worth it." Yi Shu smiled and nodded. "That's my good daughter." At 2 in the afternoon, Yi-sen suggested Yi Zhao stay at the hospital with Yi Shu while he went back to make some nourishing soup to bring over. Yi Shu had lost a lot of blood and needed to recover well. Yi Zhao stood up and said, "Uncle, you stay at the hospital with Mom. I'll go back and get my computer. You can both go home." Yi Shu sat up in the hospital bed. "I just can't use one finger. It's not like I'm paralyzed. I don't need anyone to take care of me." Yi-sen acted as if he didn't hear Yi Shu's words and patted Yi Zhao's shoulder. Zhao, you go ahead then. Be careful on your way home." "I will." Yi Zhao left the ward. Seeing the pair ignore her completely, Yi Shu sighed, "I'm serious. I really don't need anyone to stay with me." "Yi-sen, you should go back too. Didn't you say the company has been quite busy lately? Hurry back to work. Don't delay the company's business because of me." The express delivery company operated year-round. Even on New Year's Eve, they had deliveries. Today was already the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year. "I'm not busy." Yi-sen sat down and began peeling an apple for Yi Shu. "I've already arranged everything before coming. Sister, don't worry.